June 5th, 2025. A tense night in Abu Dhabi. 90 minutes stood between a nation and history. For decades, Uzbekistan had come close, painfully close. They had suffered heartbreaking eliminations, controversial defeats, and near misses that left an entire generation wondering if their World Cup dream would ever become reality. But on this night, everything changed. A hard-fought, scoreless draw against the United Arab Emirates was enough to send Uzbekistan to the FIFA World Cup for the very first time. The result secured qualification for the 2026 tournament and made Uzbekistan the first Central Asian nation ever to reach football's biggest stage. This is the story of how the White Hooves rewrote history. This is the road to the FIFA World Cup 2026. Since gaining independence in 1991, Uzbekistan dreamed of competing among football's elite. The nation quickly emerged as one of Asia's most promising footballing countries. Yet qualification for the World Cup always seemed just out of reach. Year after year, campaign after campaign, Uzbekistan would come close only to suffer disappointment. There were controversial refereeing decisions, painful playoff defeats, heartbreaking final day eliminations. The country earned an unfortunate reputation for falling short when it mattered most. Some even labeled them Asians chokers. But beneath those disappointments, something important was happening. Uzbek football was evolving. The federation invested heavily in youth development. New academies were built. Football schools expanded across the country. Thousands of young players entered structured development programs. And slowly, a new generation began to emerge. A generation capable of achieving what no Uzbek team had ever achieved before. Every historic qualification campaign needs special players. For Uzbekistan, this generation was filled with talent. Leading the attack was Captain Eldor Shomurodov, a striker who had proven himself in European football. In midfield, creative stars like Bozbek provided vision and flair. And at the back stood perhaps the biggest symbol of Uzbek football's rise, Abdulkadir Hosanov. Hosanov's rise to European football showcased how far Uzbekistan's player development system had come. He became the face of a new footballing era for the country, but talent alone does not guarantee qualification. What made this team different was experience. Many of these players had already achieved success at youth level. Others had represented Uzbekistan at major continental tournaments. Together, they formed arguably the strongest squad in the country's history. And now they had a chance to prove it. The road to the 2026 FIFA World Cup was unlike any before. For the first time, the tournament expanded to 48 teams. Asia received more qualification spots than ever before. The opportunity was there, but Uzbekistan still had to earn it. The White Hooves began strongly. They navigated the early stages of qualification without losing a match. Confidence grew. Momentum built. The team showed defensive organization, tactical discipline, a growing belief that this could finally be their year. As qualification progressed, Uzbekistan found themselves competing among Asia's strongest nations. Every match became more intense. Every point became more valuable. The pressure was enormous. An entire country was watching. Yet, unlike previous generations, this team seemed comfortable carrying that weight. Instead of fear, there was belief. Instead of doubt, there was determination. And suddenly, the impossible began to feel possible. Every great football story has a leader. For Uzbekistan, that leader was Timur Kapaze, a respected figure in Uzbek football. Kapaze understood the emotional burden carried by the national team. He knew the history, he knew the failures, but most importantly, he knew how to unite this group of players. Under his leadership, Uzbekistan became difficult to beat. The team relied on defensive discipline, teamwork, and resilience. They were not always spectacular. They did not always dominate opponents, but they consistently found ways to end results. That mentality would prove crucial in the defining moments of qualification, because when the pressure reached its highest point, Uzbekistan stayed calm, and that calmness changed everything. June 5th, 2025, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates versus Uzbekistan. The equation was simple. 1 point would secure qualification, 1 point would change history forever. But football is never simple. The stakes were enormous, the pressure was unbearable. For 90 minutes, Uzbekistan fought for every ball. Every tackle mattered, every save mattered. And when their nation needed the most, goalkeeper Yusupov delivered. Yusupov provided several crucial saves to keep the score level and preserve Uzbekistan's dream. Minutes after minute passed. The tension grew. Then came stoppage time. 8 agonizing minutes. 8 minutes separating Uzbekistan from the greatest achievement in its football history. Finally, the whistle blew. A scoreless draw. Mission accomplished. Players collapsed to the ground. Tears flowed freely. Coaches embraced. Fans celebrated across the country. After 8 qualification attempts, Uzbekistan had finally reached the FIFA World Cup. History had been written. This qualification was bigger than football. It represented decades of work, decades of investment, decades of belief. For millions of Uzbek citizens, the achievement became a source of national pride. It proved that the country, once considered an outsider, could compete with the best. It validated years of youth development and infrastructure projects that had transformed football throughout the nation. And perhaps most importantly, it inspired a new generation. Children across Uzbekistan could now dream of playing on the world's biggest stage, because for the first time ever, that dream had become reality. For years, Uzbekistan lived with heartbreak. For years, they wondered what might have been. But in 2025, the story changed. The near misses became memories, the disappointments became motivation, and the dream became reality. From the streets of Tashkent to the stadiums of North America, Uzbekistan's journey stands as proof that persistence can overcome history. The White Wolves are no longer chasing the World Cup. They are part of it, and in doing so, they have rewritten football history forever. The world is watching. Uzbekistan has arrived.